Hello everyone, I'm Kim Pierce. Thanks for joining us for a special year-end edition of Naperville News 17. Naperville made national news more than once this year, unfortunately due to racist incidents that took place in our town. Naperville News 17's Casey Krajewski shares the details of those events.
Several incidents of racism occurred in Naperville over the past year, which led to strong responses from the community. In July, a Buc-ee's gas station clerk was fired after a video of him questioning a customer's citizenship went viral. The clip also showed the employee saying the Hispanic customers need to go back to their country.
It's illegal.
It's not illegal.
Buc-ee's released a statement apologizing for the incident. In October, controversy surrounded the Naperville Buffalo Wild Wings after a group of 18 customers of various races were asked to move because of their ethnicity. Staff told them a regular customer didn't want to sit near black people. Naperville leaders responded to the incident.
This family with their kids, are going out trying to celebrate, and this is what they have to experience. And I'm imagining these parents having to tell, their kids what happened. It's just sad that they're having to experience that and go through that, especially in 2019.
Police investigated the incident and determined no hate crime was committed. Buffalo Wild Wings conducted an internal investigation and terminated the employees involved. Just 3 weeks later, a student was disciplined at Naperville Central High School after a racist post surfaced online. An ad appeared on Craigslist with the photo of a black NCHS student, with the caption, "Slave for sale." The student's mother spoke out about how this incident will impact her son for the rest of his life.
I'm angry now. I'm really, really angry. I'm angry that this happened to my son. I'm angry that somebody that once used to be his friend did this. I'm angry that his mom and dad the child that did this, his mom and dad is suffering. I'm angry about all of this because it's unexplainable right now.
The 14-year-old white male student responsible for the post was charged with 2 counts of felony hate crime and 1 count of misdemeanor disorderly conduct. Reporting for Naperville News 17, I'm Casey Krajewski.
The community responded with a call to unite and promote tolerance. Naperville Neighbors United, a newly created monthly conversation forum, took the opportunity to open their November meeting to allow the public to share stories, emotions, and frustration at how racism has affected their lives. The mother of the Naperville Central student, who had his photo shared in the racist Craigslist ad, voiced her thoughts.
The school district needs to take crimes of this sort a little bit more serious. I feel like a message needs to be sent to all other people who have done this, contemplated on doing this, that racism should not be tolerated nowhere, and especially in Naperville.
Naperville School District 203 held a Focus 203 event for all to attend, discussing implicit bias and racism.
As an educational institution, we really are the center hub of this community. And so we have an important role, not only to educate our kids that racism and hatred don't have a place anywhere, that we must value the dignity and uniqueness of each individual. We're going to take on that responsibility.
Civil rights leader Reverend Jesse Jackson weighed in on the issue as the featured speaker at Unity Partnership's Leadership Forum at Cantini Park.
We must teach racism, we must teach racism. It's ungodly. Teach racism is immoral. Racist practices are illegal. We must teach that.
And at a local rally, City Councilman Benny White added the need for a change in attitude.
We can't tolerate it. We've got to do things about it. We often talk about behaviors and working on behaviors when we see it. Do that oftentimes in the schools, okay? But the things we need to really work on are attitudes, because we can address the behavior, but if the attitude is still there, we know we have a lot of work to do.
Councilman White is the organizer for the Naperville Neighbors United events. He plans to continue the monthly forums to encourage dialogue and discussion. Our neighbors in Aurora also made national news when a fired employee at the Henry Pratt company killed 5 co-workers. Our own Christian Canizal tells us what happened and how it made Aurora strong. A warning to our viewers, some of this content might be disturbing.
Aurora 911, where's your emergency?
Henry Pratt, 641 Archer. You got a gunman.
The chilling phone call came from inside of the Henry Pratt Company building in Aurora on February 15th, where a disgruntled former employee opened fire on his former co-workers. Seconds later, the phone call cuts off.
He's an active shooter.
Where at inside the building? Hello?
Aurora police, FBI, and other local emergency personnel quickly responded to the active shooter call. While trying to apprehend the shooter, Gary Martin, 5 police officers sustained injuries from the gunman. Martin himself was killed in the shootout. Those who tragically lost their lives at the Pratt shooting were Vicente Juarez, Russell Byer, Clayton Parks, Josh Pinkard, and Trevor Wayner. Timothy Williams sustained injuries during the shooting. After the horrific event, several vigils were held to remember the 5 victims.
As the days progress, these victims have been transformed back into real people, our neighbors, heads of families, in some cases fathers of children, children of parents, people just like us with plans and dreams and hopes and expectations, all shattered in the moment.
But hope can bloom from tragedy. Aurora Strong painted on signs and online fundraisers for the victims' families brought the community closer together. Some community members carrying 5 crosses 5 miles to the Aurora Police Department to remember those 5 victims and honor police officers' efforts during the Pratt shooting.
They risked their lives coming from the Aurora Police Department to this building. They helped reduce the tragedies, we think, and we're honoring the police department and everybody that helped us.
All 5 officers who were injured during the Pratt shooting, including Matea Valley alumnus Adam Miller, who was shot in the face, have returned to the line of duty. Perhaps the epitome of Aurora Strong. For Naperville News 17, I'm Christian Canizal.
This year, Waubonsie Community College started the Aurora Strong First Responder Scholarship, awarding $1,000 to a student who intends to become a police officer. Up next, we check in on the year's top topics at Council.
Naperville Crime Stoppers.
Yes, I'd like to report some suspicious activity in my neighborhood. How does this work?
Yes, thanks for calling. Your call is anonymous, and I will not ask for your name. Instead, you'll be identified by a tip number. In a few weeks, call back with the tip number you received, and I will let you know the status of your tip. If an arrest is made, you could receive a reward up to $1,000.
How do I get the reward money if you don't know who I am?
Well, when you call back, we set up a time and a place to drop the money. You will be safe, and nobody will know you gave Crime Stoppers a tip.
Okay, well, here's what's going on.
This year's council saw some changes with the departure of Becky Anderson and Rebecca Boyd-Obarski. New council members Patrick Kelly and Teresa Sullivan joined the dais in May. The group remained under the guidance of Mayor Steve Chirico, who won a 2nd term in office. It was a full year for council, who tackled many issues. Naperville News 17's Casey Krajewski gives us some of the highlights.
Naperville City Council tackled lots of different issues this year, but 3 topics stood out on their agendas in 2019. The legalization of marijuana in Illinois brought out more public speakers than any other issue in council chambers. At one meeting, a record 238 speakers approached the microphone to voice their opinion in the longest council meeting in Naperville history. Though council voted to opt out of the sale of recreational adult use cannabis, they also voted to place a non-binding referendum on the ballot for the March 2020 primary elections.
This is exactly the type of issue. It's new, it's controversial, it's time sensitive, and it has major implications for our city. This is the type of issue that our voters could and should decide via referendum.
Some council members said they might change their vote depending on the results of that referendum. The dais also continued discussion on the 5th Avenue redevelopment project. Council received recommendations early in the year that led to a 20% affordable housing mandate and the request for more commuter parking. The choice was also made to keep the DuPage Children's Museum in its current location. Those decisions helped guide developer Ryan Company's baseline concept, which they proposed in September. But council had too many concerns with the size and density of the project and voted no to move forward.
By saying yes, in my opinion, we're either implicitly or explicitly saying to Ryan and to our residents that a concept at this general size, general density, general height is something that the council finds acceptable. And I don't think that that is the case.
Council will discuss the future of the project at a special workshop on January 27th. Finally, council discussed the fate of the Kraler Mansion after Little Friends announced its desire to sell its property in an effort to move to a new site in Warrenville. That put the future of the building in jeopardy. Preservationists called for the protection of the mansion, but others argued Little Friends' mission to help those with autism was more important. In November, they voted to allow the nonprofit to demolish the more than 100-year-old structure, but asked city staff to continue looking for ways to save the mansion.
It's a very significant piece of the historic district. To get rid of it would be the start to the end of the historic district.
At their next meeting, council voted to tender up to $562,000 to Little Friends if they choose to sell to a developer that will preserve the mansion. The nonprofit's president and CEO, Mike Briggs, has said they intend to accept the best offer for Little Friends. For Naperville News 17, I'm Casey Krajewski.
Another local structure with an uncertain fate, Moser Tower. The 19-year-old tower, fully completed in 2007, is in need of repair with sections of cracked concrete and structural stress. Over the past 4 years, testing has been underway to determine how bad the damage is and what it will cost to fix it. The Riverwalk Commission will use this information to decide whether to recommend to City Council that the structure be repaired or demolished. But before making that choice, a final round of tests was ordered. Over the summer and fall, a computer model of the tower was created to check on spots of structural stress and strain. This will help provide a more exact estimate of repairs and their costs. The report from that round of testing is in, but needs to be simplified before the Riverwalk Commission can make their assessment. They hope to be able to make a recommendation to City Council this February. A project that was wrapped up this year is the Naperville Jaycees Park. Located right next to City Hall, this outdoor smart park offers a spot to work out in the open air. The 12,500 square foot space officially opened in early June. It boasts 26 waterproof outlets, 2 quick charging stations, lots of seating, and free Wi-Fi. Solar panels on the roof of the Municipal Center give the park its power. The park was made possible thanks to multiple donations, including a $200,000 pledge paid over the next 10 years from the Naperville Jaycees. We also said some goodbyes this year as we bid farewell to a few local fests, the most notable being Rib Fest. Our own Aisha Ashley Hausa shares some memories from their last nights at Knock.
For 32 years, Naperville has been home to Rib Fest, but park construction projects at Knock Park have required a move. For its last year in town, the Exchange Club of Naperville made sure to make it a memorable one. Of course, there were plenty of ribs for everyone, with 11 vendors this year and the annual rib judging event.
Uncle Bub's Barbecue.
Third-time champ Uncle Bub's took home the prize for Best Ribs, Sauce, and Kids' Choice Award. But ribs weren't the only food option. To add a little more diversity for their last nights at Knock, the Exchange Club also brought in some food trucks. And to shake things up, the world's largest cocktail shaker, the Monkey Mixer, stopped by the fest. After Rib Fest goers grabbed their crafted cocktails, they made their way over to the Navistar stage. Some of this year's headlining acts were Billy Idol, Flo Rida, and Bad Company. Whether the music, food, or carnival rides, everyone has some favorite memories.
It's something they associate with 4th of July. My oldest was asking, actually when we were on our way to the fireworks, she was asking if we were going to go to the pork festival.
I really like the corn.
When I first started coming here, I was single, and then, I met my husband, and we started coming here as a couple, and now we have, bringing the next generation down to Naperville to enjoy the weather and the food.
And now it's time to make new memories as they roam to Romeoville, Rib Fest's new home. Reporting for Naperville News 17, I'm Aisha Ashley Hausa.
Another fest that said goodbye, Christkindl Market. The German holiday market had brought its schnitzel and signature mugs to Naperville Settlement for 3 years, starting in 2016. But in April, the Naperville Heritage Society announced that organizer German-American Events would not be returning in 2019. A representative from that group said the market's departure was simply part of the event's evolution. Another winter season departure from the settlement was Naper Lights. The holiday light display was relocated to the downtown Water Street district, where the colorful twinkling display could dazzle those along the DuPage. Naper Settlement filled their winter holiday season instead with the new Yuletide Festival, presented by Star Events. A market full of gifts, festive lights, and food, drink, and fun were highlights of the fest, which the settlement hopes to make an annual event. Ribfest also has a replacement, the Naperville Salute, billed as a lower-cost community event, complete with fireworks. Other new fests to watch out for at the settlement next year will be Soul Fest and Naperville Pride. Coming up, our school's year in review.
You know, I am thankful for the amount of people that I love and the amount of people that love me back. And I'm also thankful for our community and this town and for how many wonderful people are in it trying to make it better on a day-to-day basis, even through tough topics.
I'm very thankful for Christmas and holiday breaks. Thanksgiving is kind of the kickoff of all the breaks this time of year, and that is the kickoff of all of our moments that we make huge memories of. We're just really grateful to have that time together.
I am grateful for being able to do life every day, and I think I'm thankful for family and friends, and more than anything, joy in everyday life.
Happy holidays.
Happy holidays.
Happy holidays from the Moms Network.
I thought the interview was great. It helped increase exposure for my center in Naperville. It helped increase my exposure within my company. And above all, it was just great to talk to Liz about education, and we both share a similar passion about it.
There wasn't much change in our school board lineups this year, with District 204 keeping their status quo and District 203 adding one new member, Joseph Kosminski. But there were some design changes for two District 203 schools. Students at Scott Elementary and Kennedy Junior High came back to school in August to the site of new Learning Commons. Scott's LC features lounge areas and an iLab, while Kennedy's has tons of space for group projects, including huddle rooms. Also this year, District 203 voted to dissolve the Intergovernmental Agreement of Expanding Learning Opportunities, or ELO, which provides pooled online high school courses between 3 area school districts. The ELO consortium between District 203, District 204, and Wheaton-Warrenville District 200 will dissolve, but each district will continue to provide online learning experiences for students independently. The consortium formed in 2014 and will run through spring 2020. This year, a new Illinois law was passed, inspired by a former District 203 student. Naperville North High School junior Corey Walgren died by suicide in January 2017 after being questioned by school officials without a parent present. His death inspired Representative Stephanie Kifowit, along with her Youth Advisory Council, to create Bill 2627. It requires that a parent or guardian needs to be notified and present when a student under 18 who is suspected of committing a criminal act is questioned by law enforcement on school grounds. If it's not possible for parents to be present, then a school social worker, guidance counselor, nurse, or other type of mental health professional should be present. The bill was signed into law in August. District 204 made some real progress on a cool, ongoing project, among others. Naperville News 17's Christian Kenizal takes us through some of the top topics from the year in District 204.
On the first day of school, elementary students at Indian Prairie School District 204 didn't have to worry about hot classrooms anymore. In the spring of 2019, the school board approved its 5th phase on air conditioning its 19 elementary schools in the district.
This includes installation of air conditioning units in a total of 590 large classrooms at our 19 non-air conditioned buildings.
District 204 will install AC at elementary schools' LMCs in their next phase. The district was also busy this year, taking stances on various issues, one of them being TIF districts in Aurora and Naperville. At a March board meeting, members passed a new resolution outlining their stance on new developments within the district. Part of that resolution stated it opposes any tax increment financing or other economic incentive without the approval of the district. The city of Aurora took note, working out a compromise with the district on the Cedarwood development on 75th Street and Ogden Avenue. Several familiar faces in District 204 made big announcements this year about their professional lives. Eagle Valley's principal, Bob McBride, said in January he'd be stepping down from his post after more than 10 years in the position.
The job of a good teacher is to recognize talent in people, open the door for their opportunities, see them step through that door, and see them flourish. That's really what you do as a principal. I hope that's what I do as a superintendent.
McBride is currently working towards his goal as the superintendent of Lockport District 205. Karen Sullivan, who's worked at District 204 for 22 years and as superintendent the last 5 years, announced she'd be retiring at the end of the school year. The school board is currently in search of the district's new leader and said they will announce their selection in January. We'll have that and more District 203 and 204 news in 2020. For Naperville News 17, I'm Christian Canizal.
Another exit this year took place in the Naperville Area Chamber of Commerce. Nikki Anderson, who served as president and CEO of the chamber for 5.5 years, stepped down at the end of October. During her tenure, Anderson accomplished much of note, including raising over $250,000, improving an internal and external communication system, and rebranding the chamber's logo. Nikki was honored at the group's annual Toast to Our Members event in September. Anderson's next challenge will be as the director of a program at Benedictine University called LEADS, and in that role, she'll work to inspire young women and help them learn skills to achieve their goals. Up next, a Naperville native proved to be a game changer as he took on Jeopardy.
Timing is everything, especially when it comes to your business. Whether you're ready to start up or expand out, running a business is challenging. You deserve a trusted partner. At Busey, we tailor our approach to your unique needs and help you navigate financial decisions, achieve your goals, and realize your dreams of success. Your dreams shouldn't wait. Busey, your dream, our promise.
Have you been a guest in our studio or part of a news story? Have you seen a news story that inspired you or one that you just found interesting? Has your son or daughter been featured in a sports highlight? Or perhaps they interned with us? If you've been impacted or informed by NCTV 17, kindly consider a donation. By doing so, you'll be helping to document our community's history as it happens.
"2019 has been quite a year for the local athletic teams, with every school bringing home at least one state title, starting in February with the Neuqua Valley and Waubonsie Valley boys swimming teams competing at the state meet. The Warriors were led by Ayush Deshpande as they grabbed third. As for the Wildcats, Connor Boyle and Jack Hiss led their team to a second-place finish. The following month, the Bennett Academy girls basketball team went 28-5 on the year and grabbed fourth place in the state tournament behind seniors Clara Prassi, Lauren Stack, and Ashley Conkle. The Waubonsie and Mattia Valley co-op hockey team, the Warriors, traveled to the biggest stage at the United Center to compete in the combined division in the Blackhawk Cup. They faced off against Glenbard and went to overtime before the Warriors ended it to hoist the trophy. Water polo had two different trophy hoisters. For the girls' side, Naperville North defeated New Trier 11-6 in the state semifinals before falling to Stevenson in the state finals 11-5 to bring home second place. On the boys' side, Naperville Central repeated as state champions for the second year in a row after a dominant performance against LaGrange, winning 8-5. Also in the spring, Naperville North continued to show their aggressive stance at the state badminton tournament as they finished in third behind Bahavia Manaconda, who won the state title in the singles bracket, while Stephanie Liang and Taylor Zhao got fourth in the doubles. Another Naperville North team that continued their winning ways in the spring was the girls' soccer program. Their state final game went to penalty kicks, and the Huskies won out over Barrington and brought home the state title. Another girls' soccer program also brought home a state title that same day. Competing in 2A, the Bennett Academy Red Wings defeated Wakanda 2-1, which started the Red Wings on a school state winning trip, which continued into the fall with the Red Wings girls tennis team. Kendall Schrader and Caitlin Lee won the doubles tournament, which was the first victory of that kind in school history. That victory helped the Red Wings take home the second place trophy. The Red Wings continued their winning ways in 2A with the girls cross country team, where they placed first as a team behind Emily Smallman's amazing race, finishing in the top 25. Also at the state cross country meet, the Naperville North girls continued their historic run as they four-peat as state champions behind the top finish of Maggie Gamboa. We aren't done with Bennett yet, as the boys soccer program watched the girls win and said, anything you can do, we can do too. They defeated the defending state champions in 2A 2-0 and brought yet another state title back to Lisle. The girls' volleyball season also saw a team from the area bring home the state title. Can you guess who? Yup, it was the Red Wings. After defeating rival Marist in the semifinal game, the Wings walked through the final in 2 sets to hoist the 4th state championship trophy for Bennett Academy in 2019. Have you figured out the one school I haven't talked about yet? Our final state title winner, the Neuqua Valley girls swimming team. They too also repeated as state champions this year in the pool, with 2 of their divers finishing in the top 10, Jane Reese winning the title, and numerous swimmers finishing in the top spot, such as Rachel Staggy, who helped propel the Wildcats to victory. With 2019 being such a successful year, who knows what 2020 will hold for all of our athletes. Maybe we will see some repeats and possibly a 5-peat, if that's even a thing.
And congratulations to all the teams for their great seasons. 2 groundbreakings for new outdoor spaces were held earlier this year. In May, the Park District broke ground for the 95th Street Community Plaza. The $3.6 million project is being built on the land at Frontier Sports Complex, just south of the 95th Street Library. Amenities there will include 2 playgrounds, an amphitheater, splash pad, and connections to the miles of trail systems in the area. It's slated to be done by Memorial Day of 2020. And in June, the Park District broke ground on Wolf's Crossing Community Park. The 33-acre space in southwest Naperville, off Wolf's Crossing Road, will hold multiple athletic fields, a splash pad, playground, sledding hill, and 1.4-mile trail. The Park District hopes to open the park in the summer of 2020. Rotary Hill got a temporary new look in early November. A symbolic 2019 flags filled the slope in 2019 as the Healing Field of Honor returned to Naperville. The display, remembering a century of heroes and heritage, was set up by around 50 volunteers. The brilliant red, white, and blue colors flapped in the wind to commemorate the 100th anniversary of the American Legion, the 75th anniversary of the Judd Kendall VFW, and the 100th anniversary of the end of World War I. And finally, 2019 was when many learned the answer to the question, who is Jeopardy James? Naperville native James Holzhauer took the game show Jeopardy by storm this year with a 32-game winning streak that kicked off on April 4th. His strategy of going for the highest priced clues first brought him big dollar wins. It earned him a whopping $2.46 million, along with the title of record holder for the top 15 highest single-day winnings on the show. He'd return to the show again in November for the Tournament of Champions, besting his opponents to take home the $250,000 pot. But we haven't seen the last of him. In January, he'll compete in a primetime tournament against fellow Jeopardy legends Ken Jennings and Brad Rutter for a $1 million prize and the title of Jeopardy, the greatest of all time. And James wasn't our only Jeopardy champ. Naperville receptionist Beth Stewart took home $53,601 for her 2 winning days on the show. And that's a wrap for our year in review. Thanks for tuning in. We wish you the happiest of holiday seasons.
This week's Naperville News 17 is brought to you in part by the following sponsors. This program is partially funded by a grant from the City of Naperville.